Foo Fighters, Bridge Burning. Before that, we had Smashing Pumpkins Today, and The Killers, Somebody Told Me. And in the studio, somebody did tell me, we have Eve 6 here with us. Here.
It's the truth.
It is.
Story.
They weren't lying at all.
Well, and the interesting thing about Eve 6 is, truth or no truth, the name actually comes from X-Files, isn't it?
That is true. That is a true rumor.
Truth.
One of the rare true rumors that's floating out there.
We actually have a more recent Eve 6 sort of anecdote for you.
Okay.
When we decided to be Eve 6 again, how long ago was that?
That was some years ago now. This was maybe like four years ago or so.
The day that we made this decision to at least, make the attempt again, Tony was in a diner called the 101 Cafe and saw the actress who played Eve 6.
So that
I was sitting right there. It was sort of a sign. It was an omen.
Yeah.
It was like this. We got to do this. I went and said hi to her, and she gave me her blessing to reform the band.
You say her number.
Her name and her number.
You probably should have asked her for that the first time, too.
No, I got blue.
All those lawsuits later,
Right.
geez. Let's give the audience a little bit of a history here. When you guys came out, it was an interesting story. You were signed in high school. In fact, we're not allowed to put out the album until you had graduated high school. In '98, we get Eve 6. Of course, Inside Out, a huge hit. Leech was a big song on this station as well, too. And of course, you had later on with Horoscope, and It's All in Your Head. We also had Here's to the Night, the big track. And then there was a gap, and everybody, I'm sure, has been asking you guys, okay, oh yeah, there was a big gap. What have you guys been doing? More importantly, what I'd like to know is, how is the music business different now that you've got the band back together?
We're actually looking at it right now because there's 3 people in here filming this entire thing that's going straight to the internet.
Of the
being blogged live
of rock.
It is amazing, isn't it? And now you can reach out and touch fans. You can have that connection. As far as touring goes, though, do you find your touring day is different? Are you doing a lot more of that connection with fans? Is it hard to work it in, and then because people don't understand all this behind the scenes stuff you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely something that's become part of our everyday kind of, it's part of our ethos as a band. We're tuned into it, and we're like active in communicating with the fans and hearing what they have to say and letting them know, what we're thinking, and it's pretty cool.
And we can let them know what's going on. I mean, we have a huge email list built up from the years, and our Facebook page and Twitter and everything, so it's like when we announce a tour, those hardcore fans know immediately. They don't have to find out through a weekly paper or a radio station or something like that.
One of those radio
stations.
When we did the first record in '98, the only way to have any feedback from fans was either at a show or, that was it, or maybe someone called
they mailed us a letter.
Mailed us a snail mail letter. Now, daily, it's a conversation. It's really, really cool. We get to hear what they think about new songs, about the show we just played, and it's generally really positive. So I think that's fuel for bands nowadays, and I think it's a really good thing.
And when it's not positive, it's sometimes
we cry in our spirulina.
Well, we had one tweet or something that said they were talking about one of our new songs, and they said, "Terrible lyric, insane hook."
There's the ADD generation right there. They love and hate the song in the same 2 minutes period.
Thank you, Rolling Stone magazine. I really appreciate that review. Let's talk about Victoria. It's the new single out here, and I think it's something everybody has dealt with before. Everybody can relate to sexual paranoia, as I like to call it. When your mind goes...
I debated calling our album Sexual Paranoia.
It is a story, though, of kind of like, she's away, and I wonder what she's doing.
It's a true story. My now wife, then girlfriend, went on a girls' vacation to Playa del Carmen, Mexico, and I started to have what-if thoughts and wrote a song about it.
Well, you guys are going to play it for us here right now.
Yep,
we are. Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, back in the studio, Eve 6 doing their new single, Victoria, right here on Z104.5 The Edge.
Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Body shots of Italian guys in Mexico. and I'm all alone. She's dancing with the vampire to violate the disco, and I'm all alone, 'cause she went to the fire for the fire show. If I could be a fly on the wall, I would know. And I don't mean to be possessive, but baby, please, I'm getting desperate. No, I don't believe you went to bed at 10:15. Victoria, you're tearing me up. You said you'd call and I waited up. I don't know why I even try. I need another tequila, la 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 la. And she goes out, lets her hair down, bumps off. I'm all alone, to a Coldplay dance mix turned off. I'm all alone, 'cause she went to the fire for the fire show. And I in denial, is she dancing alone? You don't like my attitude, well, I don't like your attitude. No, I don't believe you went to bed at 10:15. Victoria, you're tearing me up. You said you'd call and I waited up. I don't know why I even tried. I need another tequila. I hope Los Gran mosquitoes get you, and your sun-stormy weather. I wish I never met you. No, I don't believe you went to bed at 10:15. Victoria, you're tearing me up. You said you'd call and I waited up. But gotta say, no, I don't believe that you went to bed at 10:15. Victoria, you're tearing me up. You said you'd call and I waited up. I don't know why I even tried. Even another tequila.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it right there. Oh my goodness. Eve 6, Victoria, that is the new single. And by the way, when you hear it on this station, it's going to sound a lot different. It's going to sound a lot different. It's got a lot of electronic in it, which I really love. I think it's a fantastic song. You guys going to do one more for us here real quick?
Absolutely, yeah.
We're going to go back
An
in
oldie?
time?
We can go back in time for a minute.
To the late 90s, which
to the
seems
late
to be having
1900s.
A little bit of a vibe right now. We got Titanic in theaters. We got us
yeah.
coming back. All sorts of fun stuff going on.
Here is Inside Out, Eve 6 on Z104.5 The Edge.
Ready? Yeah.
Don't swallow my pride, I would hope I'm running with the laughter of leave me empty inside. Swallow my doubt, turn it inside out, find nothing but faith in nothing. I wanna put my tender heart in a blender, watch spin around to a beautiful oblivion. Rendezvous that I'm through you. I burn like a wicker cabinet, chalk white and oh so frail. I see our time has gotten stale. The tick-tock of the clock is painful, all sane and logical. I wanna tear it off the wall. I hear words and clips and phrases, big sick like ginger ale. My stomach turns and I exhale. I'm on the pride, I'm up on the right, the laughter of the empty inside. Swallow my doubt, turn it inside out, find nothing but faith in nothing. I wanna put my tender heart in a blender, I'm spinning around too beautiful oblivion. Running through that with you. So callous where my mind stays, but it's not my state of mind. I'm just as ugly, sad as you. nothing but faith in nothing. I wanna put my tender heart in a blender. I wanna spin around too beautiful and many others. Running through that wow. And I alone am the one you don't know. You need to keep feed your ego. Don't make me climb when your eyes close. Sleep when you get close. Tie me to the bedpost. I alone am the one you don't know. You need, you don't know you need me. Make me blind when your eyes close. Tie me to the bedpost. I'm falling for right. I would trip on the right. The light fill up, keep me empty inside. Swallow my doubt, turn it inside. I'll find nothing but faith in nothing. I wanna put my tender heart in a blender. Watch it spin around to a beautiful oblivion. Rendezvous, now I'm through with you. Nah, the one time I am through with you. Rendezvous then through with you.
Very nice indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Eve 6, their new album, Speak in Code, coming out April 24th. It has Victoria and Lost and Found. We've also heard that track before on it, too. You guys don't mind sticking around and we'll pop the rest up on the internet?
Not at all.
Awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. Appreciation once again. Eve 6 here in the studio.
Thanks.
Awesome. Awesome. And now
Now we solo.
that's it.
Thanks, now.
And now all right.
It's kind of cool. It's like a, oh, it's like an episode. That's cool. Signed by Blink.
Back when they just have money to send guitars.
Let's use that microphone won't work on the rest of this interview for some reason. Yours.
Okay.
So if you two can share that one, that'll be great. And there we go. Everybody's talking. We are back with Max, John, Tony, Eve 6 here in the studio with us, and we were talking about before, you guys use a lot of social media. It's part of our culture now, and it's part of, obviously, music and touring. So when you're on, say, Twitter, who's the coolest person to follow? Who do you like to follow?
I follow
Jesus.
You have a lot of followers.
I'm not joking. Check it out.
I follow The Onion, a lot of comedy stuff. I follow Jim Gaffigan, Conan.
Okay.
Because it's like, what else can you really fit in, 123 characters, except a little random joke every now and again, you know? And that's usually what our tweets are about, too.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
Favorite?
You know what? I'm the wrong person to ask.
Okay.
I'm sort of, I'm like a kind of a tangential tweeter.
Okay.
And I have gotten into reading them more though.
Okay.
But you know, mainly, you know, I like to see what the fans have to say about shows and stuff like that. Basically, I go to Twitter for like ego gratification.
For validation.
But and interaction as well too. So you're not necessarily just kind of voyeuristically on there hearing
I don't
everybody.
I don't like follow, you know, celebrities or anything like this, but I do like it for the direct kind of, you know, fan communication thing.
Max is a man of few tweets, but the ones that he does put out there, I think everyone gets a real kick out of.
I hope so.
There you go.
I hope so.
Favorite.
I'm telling you, follow Jesus. It's really funny.
And favorite tweet from Jesus?
Oh man, I can't remember. They're all good. He doesn't tweet very often.
Do unto others.
But when he does, it's very funny.
The golden rule.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Check it out.
All right, Eve 6 here in the studio with us, and we didn't cover this before, but I kind of want to talk about going out and finding yourselves musically, and what has kept you going all these years, not only with what you do, but with what you're hearing other acts, other groups do.
Well, I think we never stopped doing music, respectively. The three of us, we were sort of doing different things for a minute there. Continued to write songs, and that's always been, where, the crux of it for our band. Kind of starting with a good song, and I think with the time that went by before, between records 3 and 4, it gave us kind of a freedom where we felt like we didn't really have to do it any certain way, so we could kind of indulge each song and do musically what we felt like, which was fun and really creative. We had a good time making this record.
And that's another great thing about doing music nowadays. It's a lot easier to experiment with ideas. You know, back in the past it cost more money, it took more time. Now you can try things and pretty quickly determine if it's working or not, and so you can get a lot of flows going that way.
Well, we had Lost and Found kind of came out, and Victoria, and traditionally, you release an album and that's what you're going to do. But I noticed you peppered out a couple right there, and that's something that maybe in the past we wouldn't have done.
Yeah, and that's, we're with Fearless Records now. They've been great, and that was sort of their idea to get a song like Lost and Found out, which kind of had some traditional Eve 6 elements, but still, newer stuff as well. Really get some of the existing fans hyped up about a record.
And we have those outlets now. We wouldn't have had the outlets before.
Right.
It was only radio or whatever. Now we can throw stuff up on our SoundCloud and our YouTube page and all that, and reach a whole different audience basically.
It is so exciting. Now, when you're in this last few years, let's say, what records that have come out that you said, that's fantastic, that could change things? Has there been anything that you've really been like, wow?
Good question.
All three of the Arcade Fire records really meant a lot to me. I think they're one of the great bands to emerge in the last decade.
Yeah, I'll parrot that. I think like, I don't know. It's tough with the expectation that can be put on bands to sort of change the whole kind of shape of music. There have been records that have come out that I've really loved. Mike Doughty from Soul Coughing, his solo record Haughty Melodic is one of my favorites. That came out a few years ago. But it always starts in the 90s with us. It's got to have its beginnings. It's a foot in the 90s.
I'm a big fan of Spoon. I like pretty much everything they've done.
It's got to start in the 90s.
That starts in the 90s. Yeah.
I got to think about this. What is the one act you thought for sure would be still happening today, still making records, and somehow or another, circumstances or whatever, they went away?
It happened to a lot of them.
Yeah,
sadly.
it did.
It's really hard to kind of keep something going for a long time now, because there's all these factors at play, and you're constantly dealing with a changing business and a changing taste. So it's not easy. I'm not surprised that not as many bands are still kind of actively doing it, but I don't know, who's the surprise?
Who do you miss, maybe, even? How about
trying to think bands that have broken up. I mean, I definitely have bands that I've mourned, but they haven't necessarily been bands that were like bigger bands.
They're still around. I mean, we're all huge fans of the first Third Eye Blind record. I think a lot of musicians are. That's sort of an across the board. You talk to hip hop kids, you talk to 18-year-old super emo kids, and they all love that record because it's just one of the best pop rock albums you can get.
I love super emo kids. They're my favorites.
Better than just the regular emo.
Yeah.
Because you know what?
If you really
Super duper emo too.
Yeah.
I want you to strive. I don't want you to say, I'll be emo today.
Yeah, come on. You gotta be all you can be.
Yeah.
It's inspirational as well. It's great to have you guys up in the studio, and we talked earlier, coming back to Tulsa. We're going to find a way, right?
We're-
I know it's not concrete.
It's in the plans, definitely. We plan to be touring a lot this year, so I'm sure we'll do a proper show here in Tulsa.
If nothing else, stop by for lunch.
There
You
we
never
go.
call, you never write.
We've always had great shows in the Tulsa. We just drive 3 hours to come by the station.
That's right.
That's all.
That is a little dedication right there. That's right.
If we could have called, we would have.
What's your number? Rigorous honesty for you.
Eve 6 in the studio with us. Thank you guys for your time. I really do appreciate it. I know you played a show in Oklahoma City. Now you're going to go to Denver, so stop it off in
Denver's
Tulsa.
going to be big.
Yeah.
We really do appreciate
Thanks for the support, too.
It's our
Thanks,
pleasure.
Tulsa.
it. Eve 6. Oh, you guys are great.
Thanks so much.
I'm sorry.